Hey guys, Mark and Jen here from Southern California. We're the husband and wife team from Simply Southern Furniture, and today we're going to show you how we spray Dixie Belle Paint.
Yeah, so we are over here on the West Coast and outside of LA by the beach, and a lot of our customers really love a distress finish. We do a lot of specialty finishes as well, but for the majority, we do a lot of distressing for our customers, and we do a lot of furniture because of the area that we're in. So we wanted to show you how to spray that furniture, spray that paint, and we're also going to show you how to spray the top coat. So let's get going on that.
Okay, so now we're going to get going on the spraying. So what we use is just a traditional Harbor Freight, inexpensive HVLP gun. I think that's the acronym you use. We get the one with a regulator, that way we can adjust how much pressure comes out. I like to spray at about 75 to 80 psi. Now we do have to thin out the Dixie Belle paint. The awesome thing is that we can just use water. We don't have to use any like Floetrol or nothing like that. Dixie Belle works awesome with just thinning out with water. So the ratio we use is about 1 part water to 3 parts paint. So an example would be, if we use the 15 ounces of paint, we would use 5 ounces of water. And so what we do is, your paint after use kind of gets dirty, so what we do is take a Sharpie. This is my 5 ounce, 10 ounce, 15 ounce, that way I can always see it and reference it. So today we're going to be using Mint Julep. Now this is a 8 ounce container, so 8 ounces, I'm going to use about 2.5 to 3 ounces of water. So what I like to do when I do the gun is I like to just prime it a little bit and start with a little bit of water just to kind of get everything lubricated in there. So I already have my water mixed up, but I still like to start a little bit of the water because I got 3 ounces of water saved right there. And so now that way when I dump the paint in, the paint's not on the bottom. It helps kind of mix it up easier. If this wasn't a new container, I would use a strainer just to make sure I don't have any chunks of paint in there that'll block and kind of give me a headache as I'm spraying down the road. So, to kind of get the rest of my paint out of the container, put the water in there, shake it up, see if I can make the most out of the paint. Then I'll finish putting my 3 ounces of water in there, mix it up. Now the cool thing about these guns, also you can adjust the pressure, but you can also adjust the fan spray. So once I get this mixed up, I'll give you an example of that. And it's just a dial right by the trigger. So when we use a spray gun, we want to stay about, 12 to 14 inches away from what we're spraying. So I already have the compressor set up. I already have my gun set up for 75 psi. The dial right here is how you adjust the fan. And when I say fan, it means like how the paint comes out. So a little bit of water came out first. See how small that is? See how it gets lighter. So just kind of find something that I feel comfortable with. And I'm going to start on this side. So this piece is prepped and cleaned. The way we prep and clean it is we hit everything with 220 sandpaper, and then we clean it with
Dixie Belle White Lightning.
And so that way everything is nice and clean and ready to go. So now I'm going to start spraying. When we spray, the one thing anything you have to keep on guard of is for any kind of crevices or any detail in the paint, because it's easy to kind of be light in there, so you just got to be aware of those. So that's the inside corner there. So I'm just going to hit it, and then I'm going to start on the bottom. Just work my way up. I'm not putting a heavy coat on. I'm just trying to make sure I have a nice, even coverage. So this is my first coat, so that way the other coats will have something to bond to. Nice long coat, so all the way from left to right. Try not to stop partway through. Find a nice even stroke. Okay, so I got my first coat on, and I did it without the drawers in because this particular one, the drawers overlap the base. So I got the base taken care of first. Now I put the drawers in. Keep a nice straight line for the drawers. I just put some blue tape on that outside edge so that way I have a nice line. And I just push the drawers in about a 1/4 inch to 3/8 away. That way I can get all the edges of everything. And now I'm going to put a coat on the drawers. Again, when you're spraying, you got to make sure, if you're going to have a couple different crevices, make sure you angle the gun to get what you need where you need it to go. So out here in Southern California, we got awesome weather. So the base coat I probably did about 15 minutes ago, and it's already tacked up and dry and ready for a second coat. So since I got one coat on the drawers, I'm going to go ahead and second coat everything else. All the way across, left to right. And I want to make sure that I keep a wet edge. What a wet edge means is I want to do one sand, and then my second one goes halfway over the last one. So that way I have a wet paint edge going all the way up. All the way across. Go across all the way, and then I come back halfway to the last one. Nice and steady stroke. I'm going to do this side again as well.
Can you turn that around so we can see it?
Absolutely. So my gun is about 10 to 12 inches away from the furniture. So I'm going to let the drawers tack up a little bit, and I'll put a second coat on the drawers, but the base covered with 2 coats. Okay, so I'm going to put my last coat on the drawer faces. Again, wanting to make sure I get in all the crevices. Nice even coat. So I got 2 coats on the base, on the drawer, on the side, and on the top, but I have probably about 3 ounces of paint left. So I'm going to put a third coat on the top just for good measure. So I was able to paint this whole piece with about 6 ounces of paint.
Incredible.
Using the sprayer.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so now we're on to the distressing process. But when you spray Dixie Belle, you are going to get a little bit of a rough surface. So what you want to do is just use a little bit of 400 or 500 grit sandpaper and just lightly go over all of the surfaces. Just 1 or 2 swipes, super easy. And then now we're going to get on to the actual distressing part. So we use a Harbor Freight. Again, Harbor Freight is awesome. This is a orbital sander, so it moves in a circle. And we're just using, it's the Velcro 220 grit sandpaper. All right, here we go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna hit all of the high points. So any part that would normally get distressed over time, that's what we're gonna be hitting. Okay, so now we're going to start clearing. So what we're going to use is the satin
And we thin this out as well. So remember, we're spraying everything. So this ratio, what we like to use is for every 5 ounces of clear, we like to use 1 ounce of water. And so it just kind of helps it come out of the gun a little bit better. So I've already got my water measured out. I'm gonna just prime it a little bit. I'm gonna put about, it's probably around 8 to 10 ounces. Got my water.
So how many, do you have 2 ounces of water in there?
Correct.
Okay.
Just gonna stir it up. So remember the same, I got my gun set at 75 to 80 PSI. This consistency is gonna look a little bit thicker than the paint. If you remember, we had we thinned the paint out as well. So we want to get rid of that water that's right there in the beginning. So remember this one, the drawers lay on top of the base, so I'm going to put the first coat of clear on with the drawers out. So I'm going to apply the clear the exact same way. I'm going to have a wet edge. Now when you did the same thing, I'm just going to put a nice solid coat on there the first time, nothing too crazy. Now if you guys are worried about when you had the sand with the 400, you might have seen some scratches, some stripes, but those go away once you put the clear on. All the way across. First coat on the base, we'll let that tack up and then we'll put the drawers in. So now I got the drawers in, I'm gonna put one coat on the drawers. So I'm angling the gun. So remember, you can get in all the crevices. So on something like this, we'll let this tack up. Again, California, we're pretty fortunate with the weather. Probably about 10 to 30 minutes, we could put a second coat on. And something like this, we like to put 2 coats on the sides and 3 coats on the top and on the face.
Okay, so we are finished painting and top coating this piece, and it's been drying for about 24 hours. And now what we're gonna do is finish putting the hardware on and take some pictures and show you guys the finished product.